And he said, someone asked him, how do you like get yourself so ashy? He says, just take a shower, wait 10 minutes, and literally, so I'm here in Mexico right now, and the water is really hard. And yesterday I was here and, I was here all alone, and I looked down at my feet, and it was the ashes I've ever seen in my life.
It looked like you was dancing in flour, didn't it?
I looked like I was wearing some white leggings. It was insane.
It looked like he had on socks.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a quick funny story. One time, I play a lot of ball at the Y. I used to play a lot of ball at the Y, right? And one of my buddies, who's one of my friends now, he was like, he couldn't understand because he was like thinking, man, there's this dude killing guys out here with prosthetic legs.
Accurate.
Not prosthetic legs, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a whole nother level of ashiness I've never even knew existed.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my goodness. Now, if y'all say we're frozen on Instagram, is it me?
Yeah, go for it, Derek. What you do?
No, I was going to say, if y'all saying we're frozen on Instagram, let us know you can still hear us. But this weekend, I went to Gunter's Greenhouse. I don't think we are because we can see each other, but that doesn't mean anything. Instagram can do anything. This weekend, I went to Gunter's Greenhouse. They were having a beautiful plant sale. They are doing plants online. I got this beauty for $30 with 20% off. It is a philodendron Atabaponies. A lot of syllables there. And it is quite lit. And look at these ruts. Y'all see these ruts? Y'all see those ruts? These are some ruts here. So with that being
said, ruts. Like,
yes.
It's weird to me to hear someone say ruts. Like, is that
Eastern Carolinian?
That's the Southern. See, Andre, you in Florida, but Florida isn't really the true South. So that's
right.
Yeah.
Florida's something different.
Like,
Florida's something just differently different.
I feel like when you hear everybody say a word a certain way, like, how do you continue to say it your own way?
I don't know, but if I threw you off a little bit, I just have to say I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's sorry. It's sorry.
My grandfather was like that too. My grandfather grew up in New Orleans. And while he didn't still have his New Orleans accent when he was living in Baton Rouge, where I'm originally from, still, to the day he passed away, he still pronounced some words a certain way. So he would still say herb when he was referring to oil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Papa, if the word is oil, O-I-L, oil, like, no, boy, hand me that Earl over there. Like, if you meet anybody from New Orleans, they call it Earl. E-A-R-L, Earl.
I'll tell you what, I went hunting one time, and the guy that had like the camp, it's in Georgia, and he kept on saying how the deer were eating acres. You know what acres are?
Yeah, acorns.
Acorns, yeah. They were eating acres. And then later on, he said corn. And I'm thinking, wait, you can say corn?
That's one syllable. That's one syllable. That's why he can do it. See, corn's not acorns. You gotta quickly get it out. You only got so many seconds to talk on this earth. And this is why we talk like we do in the South. You only have so many seconds.
All right. Greg, what's going on with you? What you been up to?
Oh man, this weekend I was knocking down that honeydew list. Because I started off by cleaning up the patio on the Tinker Garden area. But then I looked up and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get my sunlight because the branches off of this magnolia, not magnolia tree, was mesquite trees, okay. Let me get up on the roof. I started cutting down branches, and then I looked over on my solar panels, and I saw that I had like 6 branches hanging right on top of my solar panels, and I had to prune back my pecan tree. And it sucks because those were some really thick, healthy branches with some good sized pecans on them. And I noticed something, I know we're not talking about planting yet, but on one side of this pecan tree, I don't really get really big pecans because I
I know that hurts. That hurts when you got to cut those good branches off. Could have maybe air layered them if you had more time.
I don't know. That's been a really big air layer.
Big air
Like
layer.
100-year-old.
Okay. Probably not then. Probably not then. Cool. Well, I'm in Mexico right now, and I have been. I went fishing yesterday. Actually, caught a bunch of snapper and did a TikTok or an Instagram video in Spanish about the fishing trip. So if you get a chance, check it out. It was a lot of fun. But I will be heading back home on Wednesday, and then I'll be on a boat down in the Keys on a fishing trip down there. So a busy week for me.
Andre, when I grow up, I want to be just like you when I grow up, to just be going on all these fishing trips with my buddies, hanging out, fishing. I'm going to be like Andre when I grow up.
Hey, you guys are just ignoring the last 2 weeks that I've been working like a dog, you know. But guys, tonight we wanted to talk more about gardening myths, because to me, I feel like people are always sending me these videos. And they're like, is this real? Is this true? Someone just sent me the honey video. Have you guys, and it's not really a gardening thing, but have you guys seen the honey videos where people say that the honey's got memory? You guys ever seen that?
What? No.
Well,
Elaborate.
There's a large percentage of the population that believes that water has memory and remembers shapes and things like that. But a lot of people believe honey has memory. So if you take honey and you put it in a dish of water and you just put it on like the bottom and you put water on it and then you swirl it around, it will form.
Oh, yes, I have heard that. There's.
Now, people believe that's how you tell if it's real honey from the bees. If it makes that pattern because it remembers being in hexagons, right? Now, I did this experiment and I got hexagons.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I did it with Aunt Jemima. So pretty much any viscous liquid, if you do that, it's going to form a hexagon-like pattern.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you, because you guys know my other profession is that I'm an automotive mechanic, and we work with viscous fluids all the time. So when you're talking about your motor oil, your engine oil, you're talking about your transmission fluid, the same exact thing, that viscosity that we're talking about, that thickness in it. So when you're trying to test whether it's real or not, that's not really testing anything. That's just testing how thick it is, the viscous.
Yes, exactly. It's a viscosity test. That's all it is, a viscosity test. But anyways, some of our plant myths. What myths have been sent to you recently about plants?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's one that I actually used to believe. So it's the whole plants clean your air in your home. Yeah, this is one that I actually used to have. Because in 1988, there was a NASA study that stated that having a certain number of plants in your home or in the area they were testing in, it would essentially clean the harsh chemicals that could be in the air. I believe it was like turpentines and other chemicals. I can't remember the exact chemicals. When Derek gets back, maybe he'll be able to elaborate. But I thought that was true because it was from a NASA study. But then in 1989, they came back and debunked their own study. So they had proved themselves wrong. Like, oh, actually, no, this is not a valid study. But I was one of those people that believed the hype too. So every time it surfaces, I'm like, yeah, I know where you're coming from, but no, actually, this was debunked. When it comes to our plants, I mean, I love having my ornamental plants around. And as you can see, it's a proverbial jungle back here. I love my garden. It's really just for the love of the plants and the ambiance. They really don't clean the air like we. What are your thoughts?
Chocolate?
He's still,
okay, all right. So I'll tell you, like, I believe that plants do, to some degree, clean the air. However, I believe it's more on the level of, like, if I put, an extra, apple in my truck, my gas mileage will go down. Right? right, because there is additional weight now. So in theory, this is a thing, but in reality and practice, it's not a thing. And even if a snake plant
It's not a thing.
right, even if a snake plant does it the most, I don't think that when they say it does it the most, that it's significantly different than all the other plants do it. It's just, maybe a fraction of a insignificant fraction more than some other plant.
Exactly, Mundo. Let me jump in here. Please, let me jump in here. Because the people of Big Plant Hack don't want me to speak. This is like everything I had started acting wild. All of my tech was freezing. Everything, computer, laptop, phone, all of it was like, no. Because this stuff doesn't work in the way that they say. Plants are very meticulous. They are very magical to me, but they are not miraculous in the way that you all would love to believe based off of what a random post on the internet will tell you. They don't improve air quality in a discernible way for you. When it comes to that, honey has no memory, water doesn't have memory. They will tell you that. All of these plant hacks are based on a misunderstanding of science and just that somebody wants to mislead you. So lately, I'm sorry, you got plants that will be sold on big ticket numbers with tags that says improve air quality. But the people doing this know it's just a marketing ploy. Because when I go to the conferences, they already know this is silly, but we just do it to make money.
Right. And I'll tell you what, a lot of times some of these things are just basically one person says a thing and everybody just jumps onto the thing that one person said.
Right. I'm so glad you said that, Andre. Okay, so does everybody remember that little time that we were all trapped at our house called COVID? And what's the thing everyone kept telling us we needed to do? We needed to social distance. And, I'm a little nerd, even though I mispronounce things, I'm a nerd when it comes to like using the word correctly. I was like, no, what we're doing is physical distance. We're keeping physical distance from one another. We're not socially distanced. Socially distanced is if you and I are friends and I haven't called you in 5 minutes. That's social distance. But going to what you were saying, that we keep saying something over and over again, I call myself like, yeah, we use social distance. I'm like, damn it, that's not the word.
Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes things don't work the way we want them to work, but one of the things that you can do to make sure your things work all the time is use Retain spray. Now, this stuff is all natural. It helps lubricate your tools. It also disinfects your tools. And I do a lot of grafting. I just had my first Mexican graft success. Literally, Thank you. Last time I was down here, I took a branch off an orange tree and I had my Retain here in Mexico. I got one here and I got one in Orlando. And I spray my shears with this to make sure that I have clean shears, because when you're grafting and air layering, sometimes a small amount of bacteria can make a big difference in the success of your plants. And also, if you want your tools to last longer, Retain. It's all natural, lubricate your tools. Excellent stuff. You can get it on Walmart.com and also Retain.com as well.
Retain. Yeah. So, it's funny you mentioned Retain, because I actually had to use some because I didn't have any bar and chain oil when I was doing all that pruning on the pecan. I put a little bit of Retain right there in my bar and chain oil, lubed that chain right on up, kept on cutting.
Yeah, actually, I used it on my chainsaw when I don't know if you saw the video where I top worked that avocado and took all the branches off. That chainsaw was in my greenhouse, and the greenhouse has an open top, and it was getting rained on. It was rusted. It couldn't even move. I fought with that thing forever, and all I had was Retain, and I just drenched the Retain in there and just kept working it, and now it's working fine.
Boom. You didn't get better than that. So, myths. What are some other myths that Derek, what have you got recently when it comes to myths?
So I'm going to tell y'all, but what I want y'all to do is on the YouTube and on the Instagram, put in your myth. The thing that somebody told you is a plant hack. You put that in and we're going to do some live debunking. Because the one thing I often will talk about is banana water, because that's not beneficial. But I will also talk about coffee being able to shift the pH of your soil, or even
because I guess I still
banana water.
I still
banana water.
I was guilty of that.
All of us have been guilty of one thing or another. I went and got every coffee ground packet I could when I was like coffee grounds for my plants, and I did it. Went through and it was nothing beneficial except for the front of my church smelled like coffee. It was great for leading the saints in. They think there's coffee in there, you just hit them over the head with a Bible. But when it came time to like actually hurt the plants, it was like, what is it really going on? Banana water, the general premise is you soak these banana peels, these cucumber peels, these whatever peels in water for X amount of time, and you're going to give your plants all these nutrients, right? But it's not really beneficial because it's not actually broken down in a place that your plants can use. Your plants take up nutrients by being broken down through their base ionic components, right? And if it's not decomposed through like fire or through being like eaten and pooped out or some type of combustion, right? Something of that nature, it's frankly just basically useless.
Yeah. It just doesn't, it's just not available.
You feel like it's what?
I feel like it's harmful too, because I mean, if you're fermenting banana peels in water without aeration, see, and I think the myth really comes from that making of compost tea, right? Compost, when we make compost tea, sorry, I saw one of the comments about compost. So when we're making compost tea, we aerate that mixture. And with banana water, every time I've ever seen it, except once, I think it was one of your videos here, where a guy took some banana peels and he put them in the water, and then he started aerating it like he was making a compost tea. When you're adding that air to it, this allows you to eat those microorganisms, and then actually you're making something that's an extract that can be beneficial for your plants, or to your roots. But when you eliminate that air and create an anaerobic situation, all you're breeding is harmful bacteria.
So someone in the comments mentioned the eggshells in the soil. I know we've discussed that, but break it down for us, guys. Eggshells in the soil.
Eggshells, they are a winner if you plan on having calcium in the next 10 years. If you need that in the next 10 years and you got time, you got a real long game plan. You starting your garden plan right now, yes.
10 years from now, I'm going to need some calcium here.
Yeah. But if not, then you want to do it immediately. And I showed that on a video on here last week and a couple of videos on my page where I literally like threw some eggshells into vinegar, right, live. And then it started bubbling and I got distracted and I wasn't listening to anything else we were talking about. When it comes to the eggshells for your plants, that calcium, you want it immediate. And unless you make a fine powder, you can get it within that year span. But even then, generally when you see that you need calcium, you want it like right then, and that's where you just take them, still make a fine powder or just crush them as best as you can and then mix them with some white vinegar.
All right, so speaking of eggshells and the fact that you're not getting that calcium in 10 years, what about magnesium? This is what about magnesium. How do you feel about adding magnesium to your garden?
This is like me and Andre versus watermelon, because he don't eat it. But when it comes to, all that place, y'all don't know this. He didn't all the way tell y'all. So he is in Mexico, but he's in a castle because he lives in a castle. And in that castle, I once heard they didn't allow watermelon there either. That's why he bought it. He was like, no watermelon whatsoever. When it comes to magnesium and the Epsom salts, I am always like, unless you see a deficiency, if you see your plants need something, like there's a plant beside me that has some yellowing leaves. There's something going on there. I need to figure out what it is. But if your babies are green and growing, unless you are, like Andre, doing a hell of a lot of fruit trees, a hell of a lot of vegetation outdoors, or you're growing something that requires a lot of quick growth, most of the fertilizers you get would have that magnesium. So I'm always like, no Epsom salts, but there's like an asterisk. And that asterisk is, it works, but you typical home gardeners don't need it.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. I grow a lot of mangoes, and I am in touch with a lot of people in the mango community, including one of my friends who owns a nursery, and he has over 200 varieties of mangoes in his backyard in pots. And he feeds his mangoes Epsom salt like once a month. He gives them a handful of Epsom salt. I do it probably once or twice a year, if I remember. I have another friend who is my mango guru. He's the one who really taught me how to hone in on my air layering and my grafting skills, and he's been growing mangoes for a long time. The only thing he feeds his mangoes are Epsom salt.
Andre. Oh, go ahead. Continue.
Go ahead. No, I say in the mango community, Epsom salt's a thing.
But you just made me think about something, okay? Because honestly, I was mentioning it to Derek just to give you a hard time, but as you started talking, I started thinking about something. Do you know your soil pH there, Florida, off the top of your head?
It's basic to some degree.
Basic to some degree, but your soil is very sandy, right?
It's very sandy.
I think I think you actually do need to manage because typically, excuse me, as soon as I start talking, I caught my kids cold, being the good dad that I am, took care of the kids, but now I have to go.
Of course.
But to that degree, whenever there is a deficiency in soil, typically it's going to be heavily sandy soils and very acidic soils. So you actually, and most of the mango growers you're talking about are right there in Florida, right?
Yep.
I think that might be the reason why the magnesium works for your particular situation. So, for instance, out here in Texas, I have a lot of clay, I have a lot of rock. I actually have a lot of magnesium in my soil already. And then plus, I do a lot of container growing. And so I'm buying like the bag soils and so forth. Those bag soils, they're going to have that magnesium already in them. So I don't add anything. But in your particular situation, I think you're 100% spot on. And this goes to say, when someone's giving you gardening advice, don't think all gardening advice is just good and a blanket statement across the board, because everybody's situation is a little bit different. Laundry's in a different growing zone, different soil, different requirements. So I think that's why the magnesium might work. I literally just came to me while you were talking.
And I'm glad you mentioned different, everyone has their own situation, because even people in the same neighborhood can have a completely different situation. I've seen things that don't grow in my yard, and I plant one in my neighbor's yard a couple doors down, and all of a sudden it's growing better than it grows in my yard. So things can vary a lot in even short distances. So yeah. Definitely. Guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. But I want to mention Sonia's Bug Spray. This is one of our original sponsors. So the show is brought to you in part by Sonia's Bug Spray. This, I don't even like to call it bug spray, because this is like a lotion. I put this stuff on even here in Mexico, and it feels like lotion. You'll never not want to put it on. I probably should use it even more, even when I'm not around bugs. But this stuff is amazing. It keeps the bugs away, and it's all natural, and it feels like lotion. It does not feel like bug spray, and you will actually smell good when you have this stuff on. Get on Sonia'sBugSpray.com.
And those two have never been attacked by a kangaroo or a koala while wearing that. So it's actually koala and kangaroo proof. So get you some.
No wallabies either. Right?
Good day.
If you have questions, leave them in the comments. We will get to all your questions today. Let's see. Soil health is very localized, like recycling, definitely.
Yes.
That's a good thing. That's my buddy there.
How many times should you give your tomatoes Epsom salt? What do you guys think about tomatoes and Epsom salt? I feel like tomatoes use a lot of magnesium, don't they?
I feel like it's because they have an antagonistic relationship. Gray, if you take this one, I'm gonna look up something real quick.
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to magnesium, I think there's only been one time that I actually put some magnesium in my soil, and that was because it was my localized soil here, and the tomatoes basically had robbed the soil of a lot of the nutrients. And so I did use a little bit of Epsom salt, and plus I was having other issues going as well. I was really having an overall nutrition problem in that batch of tomatoes. So we were having some blossoming and rot, so we were having some calcium problems. We were having some yellowing of the leaves, so we were having nitrogen problems. So I basically just started kind of dosing it with just about every little thing to try to bring them back. And I actually ended up losing that crop completely just because it was so devoid of nutrients. And that's why testing your soil, folks. Testing your soil is one of the best ways you can actually approach any kind of symptoms that you have in your life. Because if you don't know how deficient your soil is in magnesium, if you don't know how deficient it is in a phosphorus and so forth, you're just basically throwing a band-aid on the bullet wound. It's like, hopefully this will fix it, and I'm just bounce as much stuff as I possibly can. So that's what I ended up doing, and I realized all these problems were circulating from the fact that, I mean, essentially just had rotten soil, and that's because I didn't rotate crops from season to season.
Okay. Miss Lagnia asked, what could I use for nutrients for bananas?
Bananas. You grow a lot of bananas, right? You have like all the bananas. Like, dude, I would have like one type of banana. I have like Cavendish, but you are like the banana king of Florida, right?
I'm not the banana king, but I probably got about 10 different types of bananas. I feed them my kitchen scraps. Pretty much everything that is fruits or vegetable scraps, they just go right to the base of the bananas, compost in place. Yeah, that's what I've been doing for years. And the soil around my bananas is probably the richest soil in my entire yard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever added any phosphorus to your soil by any chance? Because I mean,
No.
phosphorus helps with roots and fruiting, but no.
I've never added any fertilizer to my bananas at all. They strictly, kitchen scraps kind of, we eat a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables, so our kitchen scraps sort of build up pretty quickly. And they just go straight to the bananas all the time. And I have a bunch of different banana areas, so, just kind of rotate them and dump stuff in there. Yeah, I saw I get a lot of seedlings too, because I get a lot of like mango seedlings pop up, lychee seedlings pop up, avocados pop up.
So you need to start your own seedling business.
You really should.
I've got probably 20 mango seedlings right now. I give them away to patients at the office.
See, when you go get your dental work, what's that?
Hey, Baptisto orthodontics.
There you go.
So one of the biggest sort of, I believe, gardening myths revolves around a certain set of instruments that you can put in your garden to increase your production. I can see the eye rolls already. You know what I'm going to say? Electroculture.
Oh God!
I know what you guys thought. Tell the people what do you guys think about electroculture? Because there are people that swear by it.
And there are people that swear they've been abducted by aliens too. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of people mad at me. I made a video on YouTube and I said that electroculture doesn't work. And I got just a recent comment yesterday. Was a guy like, oh, so, okay, so the myth is that, excuse me. The myth is that if you place copper wiring down in your garden, that will pull the magnetic field from the ether, and that will essentially make your garden thrive. Now, one of the myths I heard is that it will increase microbial activity. All right, and I'm gonna pause there because I think there's another sect that says something different. But let me get something clear, okay? If you place copper, a heavy metal in your soil, you are not increasing microbial activity. Because guess what? In any science lab, copper is used as an antimicrobial substance. It's used to destroy microbes, not to make them thrive. Derek, what's the other thing they say about, when it comes to the
Oh my God! Electroculture. They say it does everything. It makes your plants grow bigger. It gets rid of all the bugs. It kills weeds. It does everything short of getting rid of your mother-in-law. Like, I am convinced they will attribute any good thing to electroculture. And it even is supposed to like energetically magnetize the area and then increase plant production through magnetization. All of this stuff is supposed to be what it is. And it's a bunch of lies that I just wish would go and just be buried somewhere.
Well, my biggest strike against it is there's a lot of people that make money by making food, right? By producing, getting more output. And if sort of big ag does not have these friggin' copper farms like all over the place, then it's probably not making things more efficient. It's probably not increasing production because there would be the biggest friggin' copper setups in these farms, and they would just be increasing their yields every single year.
All right, so we got a comment down there. Somebody says, what about the copper and hydroponic systems with electricity applied to copper? That's antimicrobial. It's being used to kill algae. Like, I have copper in my pool right now. I have actually a little copper solar deal that actually helps with algae blooms. So that's what we're talking about. So you're right. It can be used in those hydroponic systems, but it's really just to reduce the amount of algae that builds in the system. And see, my thing with go for it, Derek. What you got?
I just did a quick Google because I've worked with some hydroponics, but I have never seen it in the systems like this. And while there may be like copper fittings or piping, them running an electrical current through the water already threw me off for a what the witchcraft. It already threw me off because if you are electrifying a nutrient solution, then your nutrients could fall out of balance, which could then kill your plants. So if you are electrifying a hydroponic solution, this sounds like a Murder, She Wrote plot. And none of us are Jessica Fletcher. Now, they don't know Murder, She Wrote like I know Murder, She Wrote. Okay, but they need to go to Cabot Cove and figure it out. That's all I got to say. Go ahead, though.
I don't know who Jessica Fletcher is.
Oh, my God.
Murder, She Wrote.
Is that the old lady? Is that the old lady?
Yes, Jessica Fletcher, the authoress.
Is that her real name, or is that her
No, that was Angela Lansbury was her real name, but she was Jessica. One day when I meet you in person, we're gonna do a lot of things, including what I limited to watching Murder, She Wrote. We're gonna go ahead and watch it.
I'm not watching Murder, She Wrote.
It's okay, I got you. I'll make it happen. Keep going.
And it's funny because the guy who had commented on that video, he was like, "So you're using a phone, right? You know how your phone works. So I mean, it's the same." Like, no, it's not the same thing. Yes, because my phone grabs a radio signal and I can talk to people. That's not how the electricity is. Plants are not conductive. It doesn't work.
They're not.
And then plus science. Now, both of you guys in your other careers are heavily rooted in science. What's the one thing about science when you do an experiment? What's the thing that we always want to be able to redo?
We want to get that same result over and over again. You want that reciprocity, reproducibility.
You want to have control.
And duplicate the findings, right? Duplicate the findings.
Right. So, it should be demonstratable. Like when you do a real experiment, someone else should be able to come behind you, use your methods, and recreate the same experiment and have the same results. That would be sound, peer-reviewed.
See, one of these electroculture witches is coming after him. That's why he's coughing.
Did you follow up with Perry Mason and Columbo?
You know who they are?
Okay,
there we go.
Columbo was one of my favorite shows. I'll tell you what, that's my favorite cop show ever. It's Columbo.
Now, I would rather follow up within the heat of the night, to be honest, but that's just me.
That's because you're younger.
I know, but I just love that show. They had Archie Bunker up there, and I was like, he's Archie Bunker, and he's a cop now. Anyway, we're not talking about
being Archie Bunker. I could never get over him being Archie Bunker.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like he's always going to be Archie Bunker.
Did you know that The Jeffersons was a spinoff of Archie Bunker?
Yeah.
I thought that was so crazy. What?
No,
Louise was
Sanford and Son. When that show started, Red Fox was in his 50s.
Yeah,
like when the show ended, he was probably barely 60.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I never realized. I love me some Sanford and Son. Grady.
Yeah, like these guys were young. They just looked old as hell, but they were young.
Well, back in the day, everybody looked old. They just dressed older back then. It's from pretty much the 80s. They just looked old.
Oh, yeah.
Anita.
That was a good show, too. I used to watch Monk.
I loved Monk. I loved that.
Streets of San Francisco was the best cop show. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, they can't be if I ain't heard of it.
No, the best fake show ever was Psych. I love
Psych was good too.
Now, I didn't
Psych
enjoy
was
that.
good. That was a good show. That's a really funny show. That's a funny show. That's a funny
yes.
show.
Gus Magic Head, come on.
Gus. All right, hold on. We got a question here. Andre, in Puerto Rico, we have mango trees loaded with fruit. When you do a video on mango trees, it seems that you only have a few on the tree. Why is that? Well, that's probably because the trees are young, right? So mango trees don't start off with 100 mangoes on them. They start off with 1 or 2 mangoes, and then every year they get more. In a place like Puerto Rico, you probably have a lot of mature mango trees. Like if I go down to the Caribbean or I go to South Florida where trees have been there for 10, 20, 30 years, those trees are loaded with mangoes. My Valencia Pride mango tree is one of my older trees, and that tree's probably 9 years old, and it probably had maybe 200 mangoes on it this year. So yeah, it depends on the age of the tree a lot, and also the variety. A lot of the varieties, they're some of the newer, more high-end mangoes. They are very picky producers, especially when they're young.
Yeah.
And also my garden doesn't have a lot of and also my garden doesn't get a lot of direct sunlight. I have a lot of oak trees, so a lot of the trees don't produce as good as they would if they were in full sun. Yeah. Now
There's another question up here. The person wanted to know they had a Monstera for 9 months in a 12-inch planter and indirect light. It's pretty happy, but they had 2 big leaves die and they avoid plucking. They're not sure what's happened. Maybe they watered the center too much. When you have a Monstera, any of these philodendrons, they love humidity and they love light. And if you don't have those if you don't have enough humidity, especially as they get bigger, if they're not warm enough, if they're not enough light, you will lose a leaf. And I've had that happen in a couple of Monsteras I have where they're in an area that's cooler, the air moves differently, and I'm just losing leaves there. And I would need to mist, or put a little humidifier over there in order just to beef it up. But I don't because I'm lazy.
Now, do you feel like that's more when they're an indoor plant? Because I see a lot of times outdoors, they seem to do well in the understory outside.
Yes, in the understory outside of Florida, they do real great. But I'm in North Carolina. Floridians love to show off. Oh, I'm outside. I can put my plant outside there. Look at it growing up the tree, and then winter comes here, and all we got are pine trees. I'm sorry. Anywho, I think outdoors it would be great, but indoors is a little different. And even with all the grow lights and heating mats and everything I have, it's just hard unless you keep your house perpetually at 75, 80 all year long. I don't do that.
On Instagram,
you think we might be paused?
Yeah, you guys are. I don't know. People are still commenting. Can you guys hear us on Instagram? Because I'm seeing.
Can you hear?
For both of you guys? You guys are frozen on my screen.
Something must be happening with the live feature then, because that's probably why it was acting strange for me earlier.
Okay.
They must be updating something.
Justin asks, Andre, what in your opinion is the best, rarest mango variety? Same question for pineapple. Wow. Well, I don't have a whole lot of pineapples, but the Sugarloaf pineapple is kind of one of the holy grail pineapples that people want to grow. Also the pink pineapple, which is patented and GMO. For mangoes, for me, there is I can't remember the name. It's a something queen is the one that I want to get. It's very rare, and apparently when they're green, they taste like a really good apple. So a lot of people eat them green. It's something queen, and I think it might be from Australia, but it's something queen, and it's supposed to be an amazing mango. For me, Maha Chinook is my favorite mango. Bombay, ice cream, those are probably my top 3s. Oh, also Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony is also up there. But Mark Anthony's kind of a private mango.
Now, see, I'm in Zone 8B. I'm up in North Texas, Dallas. I still want to try to see if I can get a mango that I can grow in this plant, in a container, keep it green. I would love to have a small mango that I can have mangoes from. So that's what I'm going to experiment with next season. I'm going to see if I can get me a young mango and just try to keep it indoors and keep zone that I'm in, I keep it about a good 75 to 78 degrees in here at any given time.
Right.
Making it nice temperature, so that's what I'm doing.
Yo, grow a pickering. I have a pickering mango tree and it's like 4 feet tall and it produces like 10, 12 mangoes a year for the last 5 years. And it's like 4 feet tall right now. Pickering.
Making a note right now.
Pickering. That's your best like sort of box or pot mango that actually does produce really well. Now, someone asked the question, what fertilizer can you use to increase the fruit on your Monstera?
I don't think it's about fertilizer. I think it's about time. I'm sorry to jump in. Something's happening on my end. There is, I don't think it's about fertilizer per se, because like you can give them decent fertilizer, but it's just about time and opportunity. Like the plant has to be set up in the right environment in order to fruit and flower. And from what I've seen, especially with a lot of aeroids, fruiting and flowering can be a rare sight. Like you have to have an older plant, an established plant in, again, environment that is similar to its home, which is hot and humid.
Okay.
Yeah. See, and I have, because I got that question before too, because I grow a lot of monsteras, and if someone asked me, has yours ever fruited? And I was like, no, and it probably won't. Reason being, it's not so much just my climate, it's also because I'm constantly propagating my monstera. So I'm constantly putting in new drama. I'm always propagating. So since I'm always it's not really the idea.
Golden Queen. That's it. The Golden Queen. Miss Lagia. I don't know what that. Miss Lagia has. I think she said she has one in Trinidad. The Golden Queen. That's the one. That is the one mango tree that I would get now. I have over 20 something varieties, but if I had to add one more, it would be the Golden Queen. Maybe an orange sherbet as well, but I definitely probably would be the Golden Queen. Thank you very much. Let's see. Yes.
When you want all of those mangoes, don't you have to have white soil?
Yes, you do. That's tremendously important.
So you need to create the right soil conditions and allow them to be able to
Thrive.
Now, something I want you guys to know is Thrive Roots is an already listed 100% organic and soil amazing. A lot of people keep asking us like, hey, this is a fertilizer. No, not a fertilizer at all. This is a way that you can help your plant thrive unintended by amending their soil. So amendments and soil fertilizers amendments are all about making those fertilizers available. Because like we were saying before, we were talking about magnesium, a lot of those nutrients are already there. You just need to give your plant access. Thrive Roots.
I'll tell you what, I even brought my Thrive down here to Mexico. I don't have it on me right now. I have it outside. But I brought it down here because I had some plants that were struggling in the soil down here. And I thought, you know what? Let's give them some Thrive. So we're going to see how it goes. But I've got Thrive here and I have Thrive in Orlando as well.
Let me know how it goes.
Yeah. Let me see. What is the best plant for a bathroom with no sunlight?
One made of plastic. Next.
One made of plastic. All right. Right now, you can't just have the lights that are on in there, like the keep your lights on all day kind of thing. You can't do that.
If you do keep your lights on all day, you can do a lot of different things. But most people would leave and cut that light off in the bathroom. So like, even when you're like, oh, I get in the bathroom, I'm in the bathroom all the time. But it's like you may be in a bathroom totally 2 or 3 hours of a day, unless you got a lot of people in your house. So,
Okay. What size? Huh? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was piggybacking off Derek. I was saying the same thing. I remember I had this question back on Facebook, and people in the comments, throwing his points out, saying New York basement apartment, didn't have like and she had no window. And I was the only nice guy. You know me, just too nice guy. What you want to do? You want to do, bro? Right. Sunlight.
Yeah. Listen, when I first started gardening, I had no idea that too. I thought that I could grow a fruit tree in a room with no windows. Like I was like, oh, why can't I just grow it? There's light in the room. There's light, but yeah, you need grow lights, or I think some plants can survive on regular lights, like plants that are low light plants. If the light's on enough in there, yeah.
Yeah, there's several plants that can survive in low light situations. I mean, pothos is a perfect example of that. Pothos is a thug. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you can use that plant, get the water, leave it in the dark, for an extended period of time. But it does need sunlight. But pothos will be able to survive in those type of conditions. There's very low light.
All right. Someone asked, how often should I change the pots for their monstera? I have changed it every 4 months. At least it jumped from 8 to 12 inches. So how often should they be changing those pots?
Every 4 months?
That sounds like that sounds like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, granted, unless you just got the best conditions for these plants to grow, that fast. I pot up or I change out my pots maybe once a year, just depending on how much root growth I have. Because yes, Monstera deliciosus, they grow pretty vigorous, but once a year is max out with them. I mean, doing every 4 months, it's kind of crazy.
Okay.
But hey, if they're still growing, now let me ask you this. Okay, you said you change them every 4 months. Are they filling up the entire container? Like, are they circling the bottom of the pot? Are they getting the root bound? That's the question. If you're just changing out the aesthetic, that's different. That's a different story. Hey, I'm not mad at it.
So someone said rhubarb is good for growing in a dark room.
Rhubarb, I have not heard. I'm going to be honest, I have not heard that about rhubarb. But you still need to have some source of light, whatever the plant may be. It can be possibly in a low light situation, but it's still going to be some kind of all plants.
They join. I can't join.
I've never heard that about Andre, do you grow rhubarb?
I do not grow rhubarb. The only place I've ever seen rhubarb was when I grew up in Canada, and we used to have rhubarb in Canada. I've never seen rhubarb in Florida.
Like this is
I'm not sure if it's a warm weather plant like it can survive in warm weather like this.
I've seen it on television in like Alaska and the colder region. So that would make sense with the whole low light situation, but no light, I don't know about that. You still need something.
Yeah.
Chocolate buttons is having trouble. Say it on the
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can get him back up here. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, there he is. Let me invite him back up here again. There we go. We're back. Now we're back just in time because I want to talk to you guys about. Now this is my thing here. This is my sweet and spicy pepper sauce. You can get it on andrethefarmer.com. You can also get it on Amazon. It comes in a hot and a not so hot. It's absolutely delicious. You can put on everything. It turns good food great. It's made with 7 different fruits and vegetables and 8 different fruits and vegetables. And this one, 7 in this one. And it's absolutely delicious. I guarantee you're going to love it. Andre the Farmer Sweet and Spicy Pepper Sauce. Get yours today.
Exactly.
If anyone's wondering why I'm not holding up a bottle, because I use it all night.
Let's see. Okay, they're changing their pot, and they said there's like 3 inches of space in the pot. Yeah, I wouldn't change the pot so much. I feel like you're stressing a plant out if you're changing the pot every 4 months.
Yeah, I just wait until it's like super overrooted.
Right. Because, I don't know, Derek. I might have to disagree. I don't want to wait till it's completely old, root bound like that. Because then it's going to go microscopic, hydroscopic,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I heard it over there. But every 4 months, that's like Andre said, I think you're putting that. Every time we're doing that, you got to realize you're putting it in a problem. So I try to reduce that trauma as much as possible. I'm always repotting, once a year if necessary. But I check those roots to make sure it's necessary.
Now, someone else asked, what size pot for a Myers lemon?
A Myers lemon.
Like, I think it
Depends
depends
on
on if
where
you're
you
trying to
are.
grow it from seed or it's a tree that you bought. If you're growing it from seed, then you would start with a pretty small pot. You know, you use a seedling. You don't want to, like, you guys could probably speak on this, but you don't want to over pot a plant, right?
No.
You don't want to have a tiny little plant in a 20-gallon pot because you're going to have problems with moisture control. Oh, it is?
You're absolutely right. This is the Myers limit that came actually off of my Myers limit thing. And now granted, you know I had a whole conversation about the wrong. This is the Myers limit that came from a seed. Will it fruit? Not sure. Will it fruit in 5 to 10 years? Not sure. Honestly, it can take a very long time to move on from seed. You know, this goes into like planting and everything. It may not even fruit, but I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I did. Now, this has been for what? 8 months? So if you're talking about going from seed, yeah, you don't really need a big container to what Andre was saying. Because when you have too much water, you're going to risk the chance of either overwatering or underwatering. But now, if it was a full-grown monster, what you think about it?
I just want to say hi to my mom. My mom is on here right now. Idris Bap is my mom. Shout out to mom.
That's awesome.
Now, Giovanni talked about the rhubarb. He said that there's a method of growing rhubarb in the dark. They farm rhubarb in the dark, and it's called forced rhubarb, where they grow it in the dark. Like, I can't believe they grow it totally in the dark. I know with rhubarb, you want like the stems, I think, right? Kind of almost like celery. You want those kind of.
They put it in like a dark pot, like you covered with a pot. I know what he's talking about. This must have been when I was having issues because I didn't hear this before. I know what he's talking about because I've seen this online. So they grow it, and then in order to get those stems to cause an elongation to happen, you grow it, like cover it in a pot. And then once you cover it in a pot, it stretches, right? Because it's trying to reach out for the light that's not going to be there. And then you take it off, and now you got this tall rhubarby thing.
Right, but you are growing it in light initially to get it to grow,
Yes. Once it gets to a certain stage, you cover it up, and then once it stretches to whatever length you do, now you kind of have it back out.
So that's kind of like the binding of the celery when you wrap the celery to get the celery stalks to blanch and get thick.
Mmm.
That makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that. That makes sense. That's good. And now Sonya asked, why do I keep the Myers limit from seed under the desk? Well, because this cabinet that I'm filming on, this is actually my grow cabinet. It actually has grow lights in it, so I have a lot of my seed starts. I have a lot of my plant that I need with TLC. This is actually an entire cabinet.
It's fancy.
Yeah, it's just really out loud projects. I have time. Let me start another project.
So guys, with fall coming,
I have 30
what?
30 projects I'm working on, and I'm kind of just jump from project to project. We'll go ahead with fall coming.
With fall coming, what do you guys have planned for going on? You guys tell me what you guys have planned. I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Well, I need to go get something to show you what I have going.
Okay, while he's doing that, he's quicker than I thought he was going to be. What you got?
Bam! This
What's
is
that?
actually a burgundy broccoli. I'm showing you on Instagram, and then I'm going to show on YouTube too. This is a burgundy broccoli that I'm growing seeds with the transplant. I'm super excited because this is a heat tolerant. Remember, I'm in Texas. This is a heat tolerant. Burgundy broccoli is going to be less likely to mold. So I've been wanting some good broccoli, and then it's burgundy. I mean, you can't beat it. It's so close to
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What do you got going on, Derek?
I found some garlic bulbs that I feel like I got from somebody or something, so I'm gonna put those down. There was some onions I found like down the street from me. I don't know if somebody just dropped onion seeds or like the homeless population planted them or whatever, but I'm gonna try to get a bunch of alums growing. So yeah.
So you can get back on your garlic onion diet?
Yeah, it's gonna be smelling delicious.
So someone said broccoli have seeds. Yes, of course they have seeds.
Well, you know, most people they
Eating the flowers.
yeah, you're eating the flower heads, those flower buds, I should say. So like most people just don't know like that. Like the wild mustard, collards, all these things are the same plant grown for different reasonings, and they do have seeds. Like it's not a fruit, right? Like a tomato, but it is delicious with some butter and some salt and some bacon.
And pretty much every plant will go to seed if you leave it long enough, right? Like
You sure will.
yeah, like your carrots, everything goes to seed eventually. Yeah. Can I use Epsom salt at the root of my mango trees? Well, I'll tell you what, when I do Epsom salt, one of the things I find people do a lot is they put their fertilizer right around the trunk of the tree. Those roots are not really the roots that absorb a lot of nutrients. So I try to put it around the drip line. So where the outside of the tree branches are, that line is really where the roots that are absorbing nutrients are going to be. So I try to put it around the drip line of the tree and not around the trunk of the tree.
I'm glad you said that. Yes, because that canopy is going to be an indicator of where those follow that canopy and that's your drip line.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, we only got like 2 minutes left. Any parting words? What do you want to tell the people? What's up?
Y'all can be anywhere in the world. It's going to be here with us. Make sure that you share this video with anybody say, hey, check out the Dirt on Gardening podcast because Andre is hilarious. Jared is so knowledgeable, and Braylon is just the most handsome man in the race. I'm kidding, of course.
I think you got all the roles all reversed there. I think you're like
You really did.
around.
You really did because I'm the
You're the
hilarious one,
knowledgeable
dang
one. He's the funny one, and I'm obviously the handsome one. So,
And meanwhile, I actually have all of those roles. I'm funny, handsome, and knowledgeable. And it's hard carrying this show. But what I want you all to remember is plant hacks, these life hacks or whatever, are made to basically get your attention, but not to help you with your plants. And it is unfortunate. And trees do not bear dragon fruit. That would be a dragon fruit plant that would bear the dragon fruit. The cactus will bear prickly pear. That's my last answer to that last question.
all right, I just want to say one thing to that. Yeah, but dragon fruit is a cactus, but it's a specific cactus that produces dragon fruit. So you may get like cactus pears or prickly pears or other things from other types of cactus. But a lot of cactus do flower and fruit as well. But anyways, guys, that's the show for this week. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back next week. That was episode 20, guys. That was episode 20, our 20th episode. So episode 21 next weekend. All right, guys. Peace out.